Good morning, grade threes. I'm going to read you a story today, but I don't have any pictures for it, so you are going to have to make pictures in your imagination. The story is called A Pet for Sarah by Marcy Smart. Sarah sighed and kicked at a clump of grass growing next to the pavement. All her friends had a pet except her. Caitlin said she only had a goldfish called Sam, and that didn't count as a pet because you can't cuddle it. Sarah disagreed. She felt that anything alive that you get to feed and take care of and talk to if you're lonely, that's a pet. Sometimes she wished that her mom and dad would have another kid. Caitlin had 2 younger brothers, and she thought Sarah was crazy to want any siblings. Sarah thought that even Caitlin's rowdy, bratty little brothers couldn't be that bad to have around all the time. When thinking of pets, she thought about her other friends. Jenny had a cat called Your Majesty. Felicity had a golden Labrador dog named Henry. Her friend Madison had a cockatiel named Sparky. And her friends, the twins, had pet rats called Smelly and Cheese. Sarah's parents had told her to stop asking for a pet because she would never get one. They even stopped shopping at a shopping mall that had a pet shop because she would always go inside and look at all the puppies, the kittens, the rabbits, birds, fish, and even lizards. She told her parents that even a little mouse would make her happy. She wasn't even allowed to have an ant farm. After netball practice, Sarah walked home from school with her friends. They said goodbye at the lane where Sarah lived and walked slowly towards their homes. As she walked along the pavement, she heard a rustling and saw some leaves moving on a plant up ahead. She slowed down. Could it be a snake or a monkey? She put her school bag down and crept closer and closer. She bent down to peep under the plant, and peeping right back at her were 2 large brown eyes. They belonged to a fluffy black and white puppy. When he saw Sarah, he started wiggling and yelping happily as he scrambled towards her. As Sarah picked him up, he wriggled even more and started to lick her face. Sarah began laughing and nearly dropped him because he was squirming so much. She played with him for a few minutes, and he settled down in her lap, gave a big sigh, and fell fast asleep. Sarah didn't quite know what to do next. He didn't have a collar, and nobody seemed to be in the street looking for him. She knew for sure she couldn't take that puppy home. Sarah decided to ask the neighbors if any of them had lost this adorable puppy. She asked at each neighbor's house, but none of them had lost a beautiful bundle of fur. By now the puppy had woken up again and was wriggling and squirming like crazy. Sarah thought perhaps he was hungry and thirsty, so she picked up her school bag and decided to take the puppy home after all. She would explain to her parents what had happened and tell them the whole story. "Sarah, where have you been?" said Mum. "We were starting to get worried." "Did your netball practice go on a bit longer?" asked Dad. "Mum and Dad, I found a puppy," she managed to say. By now the puppy was squirming so much that she just had to put him down. And the first thing he did was wee all over the clean kitchen floor. Then he ran and licked Dad's foot and then Mum's. "Let's go outside," said Dad, "and you can tell us the whole story." Mum quickly mopped up and they sat on the garden furniture and looked from Sarah to the puppy and back again. While the puppy was sniffing around the garden, Sarah told her story. "Sarah," said Dad, "you know we have to take him to the SPCA. His owners will go there looking for him. If they don't, then the people at the SPCA will try to find him a good home." Sarah burst into tears and ran to the puppy, burying her face in his soft fur. Dad asked if Sarah wanted to go with him to the SPCA. She only agreed to go with him so that she could hold the puppy for a little while longer. She and Dad didn't talk to each other the whole trip there and back. Sarah stayed in the car while Dad took the puppy inside. She cried all the way home and didn't eat much supper. She went to bed early and cried herself to sleep. The week that followed was the worst in Sarah's life. All her friends tried to cheer her up, but every time she thought about the puppy, she started to cry again. On Tuesday, she forgot her homework in her desk. On Wednesday, she forgot her PE bag at home. On Thursday, she tried to learn for the Friday test, but she really couldn't concentrate. On Friday, she knew she had done badly in the test, and that made her feel even more miserable. As she walked out of the school grounds on Friday, she was very surprised to see her dad leaning against his car, waiting for her. "Dad, why are you here? Is there something wrong?" she asked. He laughed and said, "Can't your dad pick up his favorite daughter once in a while?" Dad hummed all the way home and gave Mom a big kiss on her cheek when he walked into the kitchen. Dad was really acting quite weird. "Go and put your things down in your room," said Mum, "and then come and tell us about your day." As she walked off, Dad and Mum followed her to her room, and she thought that both of them had become a bit strange since she left for school this morning. Mum and Dad stood watching with big grins on their faces as she opened her bedroom door, because something came running towards Sarah, a bundle of black and white fur with its tail wagging, jumped straight into her arms as Sarah bent down. It licked her all over her face. "Surprised?" asked Mum and Dad. They explained that the SPCA had had no queries about the puppy, and they said that the animal cages were getting quite full. Mum and Dad were upset by Sarah's unhappiness that week, and she hadn't nagged them once about the puppy. So when the SPCA phoned, they decided to fetch the puppy as a surprise for Sarah. "Oh," said Dad, "and one more thing, Sarah. Your puppy is a girl."